Now, I know this really takes some doing, but this is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet. This weekend, she decided to invoke the memory of dead Princess Diana in a deliberate attempt to terrorise her long-suffering husband, Prince Harry, a very mentally unwell man. Let's just be honest about that. And she did this all after teaming up with the dodgy child sex scandal fashion brand Balenciaga during a bizarre trip to Paris. So we're going to have all the details today about what's really going on with Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network. But I have to just say, anyone who has doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some humble pie. Because this video, designed to mentally torture her husband as she drove near the scene of his mother's death, proves categorically we are dealing with a deeply twisted and troubled individual. And just look at Meghan's face when one of the photographers outside the hotel mentioned security, knowing full well the game she was playing. She was not happy to be rumbled at all.
Meghan, security, what you doing, security? Thank you so much, Meghan.
If looks could kill. Samantha Markle, Meghan's sister, posted, "Is it true that my sister was doing selfies in the tunnel where Diana died? That's what I'm hearing." Now, that would be a really sick example of being a disaster tourist. I would love to see Justine Bateman chime in on that one. Stephanie Sidley, if driving towards Princess Diana's death scene is a message to Prince William, then Meghan Markle is the devil. Harry, Meghan's spare. Let's drive by the Pont de Mont tunnel just to trigger H, because that's what I do. And Link Lauren, quite literally a disaster tourist, Instagramming as she goes by Diana's death site, which she knows very well. Now, this entire Balenciaga stunt, by the way, has been, and I'm sorry to invoke the pun myself, car crash. Like, total car crash. Here is a brand forever destroyed by leaning into the sexual exploitation of children and an over-reliance in recent years on the Kardashians, trying to rehabilitate itself by signing up the world's most hated celebrity. Now, it's not going to work for either party, but of course they are both beyond desperate. And when Meghan couldn't even pull off an air kiss with her apparent BFF, the new creative director, Picciolo, we knew things were bad. I don't think I have ever seen less chemistry. That was just completely disastrous, as Hans posted on X. The awkward kiss by Meghan Markle at the Paris Fashion Week, this complete lack of class while greeting Piccioli, the creative director of child porn brand Balenciaga, speaks volumes about her nervousness and total absence of basic etiquette. And speaking of basic etiquette, did you see this moment right here? It was almost as cringe, where she decides something is hysterically funny, turns to Marcus Anderson. We can just look at that once more because you'll see what happens. She thinks something is funny. It clearly isn't. Turns to Marcus Anderson, her gay BFF, who's behind all of this, wanting him to join in. He's like, "No way, just turn around, behave. I've got this gig for you, you stupid woman, just behave." And then she's furious, utterly furious. Mia Duchess of Basic Cable posted, "Thanks for posting. She is so angry." He didn't respond. But for Meghan, this is still ticked off as an achievement because she got her 20 seconds with Anna Wintour, even though Anna Wintour's power in fashion is fast fading. Watch. But of course, back in the real world, none of us are fooled by this. Here's Katie Hopkins.
Finally, Meghan Markle turns up at Paris Fashion Week, fancying herself to be kind of budget Angelina Jolie, but without the talent or the tits or the teeth. I mean, I think she fancies herself to be a bit of a catwalk model, more like an aged pussy on the prowl, looking for its next
prey. Was how Katie finished that. And as our Brittany of the Royal News Network posted, as a reminder, the bastion of child safety on the internet is supporting a brand that used children in ads with BDSM undertones. Any fashion show that'll take her, I guess. She's always willing to throw her principles away for money. Brittany, where to begin? Where to begin? But I think we have to start with that Instagram post driving through the streets of Paris right near the tunnel where Princess Diana was killed, having purposefully left a hotel, trying to invoke the memory of Princess Diana, that horrendous night, August in 1997, with her feet up on the chair as if it's mission accomplished. And she thinks that's a win, Brittany. No, we see you, Meghan. We see you, and now the world sees you.
Oh, yes, Stan. This was entirely a way to manipulate Harry, as it almost always is. And it's really utterly despicable. And she didn't have to do that. There were other things she could have posted about. And I even remember seeing the first picture of her leaving the hotels. I remember thinking, oh, this reminds me a bit of Diana. Are they staying at the Ritz? She wasn't, actually. But you can't help but think she's totally trying to recreate this, just like her and Harry did in May 2023, I think it was, with that alleged car chase around New York City. She wants to evoke this memory of Diana. And for her to go to Paris and do all of this is just unconscionable. And it's just crazy to me that she would go in this direction.
It is crazy. I mean, crazy is the word, Brittany. But I mean, we're dealing with a crazy woman. We are dealing with a crazy woman because, I mean, if there was one brand, Brittany, one brand in the world who any marketing executive, any PR executive, any royal courtier, anyone with any nous about the world of celebrity, that would have been absolutely toxic for Meghan Markle to go anywhere near, it was Balenciaga. And yet she cannot resist.
Well, I think Balenciaga in part is the only brand that'll take her. And she has this weird connection she can exploit, and they can too. Because let's be clear here. This was a PR stunt as much for Balenciaga as it was for Meghan Markle. They wanted the attention on the show and their new creative director. And so he has a tenuous connection to Meghan, might as well exploit it and see if that maybe helps bring attention to this new line. Now, I would say that it was profoundly negative. But when you speak about other royals, I actually looked this up because somebody asked about it. And Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has some Balenciaga earrings, but she has not worn them since 2018. And she will probably never wear them again because of Balenciaga and that ad campaign. And as far as I'm aware, other royals now generally avoid Balenciaga. There are some exceptions for like vintage pieces and those sorts of things. But since that scandal, which was about 2022, they have avoided it because it looks so bad. But again, Meghan doesn't really have any principles. She'll take anybody who will take her. And she was more than willing to avoid and ignore this scandal because, oh, she gets 5 minutes of fame in Paris and she gets to strut around like Zoolander for 5 minutes, and that made her happy.
Yeah, we've got to talk about that outfit in a moment, Brittany. But on the serious side, though, Lauren the Insider, of course, a real PR veteran, posted, Meghan's team despise her. That's the only rationale for letting their client attend a Balenciaga show in Paris. The fashion brand that previously released the Blow campaign, Meghan does not care about a life of service or family values. Do you know any other mother that would publicly support such a toxic brand that thrives on creating and promoting BDSM images of toddlers? Meghan is driven by her ego only, utterly abhorrent. If you're looking for a sign to cancel your Netflix subscription, this is it. But of course, Brittany, the reality is she only has arch loyalists around her who she listens to, the likes of Marcus Anderson, who do what they are told. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
They do. And at the same time, Dan, though, everybody is working each other. They're all grifting off each other constantly. There are no real friendships here. This is all just a grift for attention, fame, fortune, free clothes, whatever. That's all what they're doing. And so, yeah, they're willing to throw away their principles. There's money involved. There's maybe a step ahead in the fashion industry involved because Meghan never went to Paris Fashion Week, despite a statement saying, oh, she used to go to the shows. Like, no, like Toronto and New York, let's be clear. She was never any major show because she wasn't invited. She wasn't important enough. She's not even a good, let's say, fashion icon by any stretch of the imagination. And so she got here purely through her husband and no other means. And she has, as somebody who claims, again, if Meghan was just going to be your average basic bare bones influencer, just shallow, vain, and vapid, which she is, then, she could do this. And I think people would be like, that's just par for the course. But she claims to want to champion children. She claims to want to end bullying online. She claims all these things. And yet she'll totally throw away her principles when she can walk down the Balenciaga runway there with 6 bodyguards looking like Darth Vader. So that's what she'll do.
Totally. Now, Brittany, as soon as these pictures and videos emerged, I had quite a lot of people get in touch with me and say, okay, this is why she went quiet for those weeks. The cosmetic surgery work has been done. It's very obvious. Now, I'm not an expert in this area, but here is an expert, Brittany, who does believe that is the case. Watch.
Different at the Balenciaga show, so I took a closer look. Looking at her appearance from 5 years ago when she was 39, her features have a softer quality to them. Now at 44, there is a notable shift in how more youthful her face looks, and it looks significantly more defined and lifted. While weight loss can enhance facial definition, that alone does not account for the changes that we're seeing here. I think she's had an upper and lower blepharoplasty and a face and neck lift. The upper eyelids are more on show, there's less skin around the under eye area, and the lower facial contour speaks for itself. Comparing this photo from 2021 to now, the tragus has been slightly altered and the earlobe position has changed in position and also how it attaches to the face. You can clearly see she takes great care of her skin, and non-surgical modalities like skincare, skin devices and Botox will play an important role here in enhancing the overall look.
So, Brittany, he's not taking away from the fact that, look, there has been a lot of natural work that's been done and some non-invasive procedures like Botox, but he does believe that she has gone onto the knife as well.
I mean, it's a definite possibility, Dan. That's actually something I speculated, I think, all the way back in August, because between July and you could even say about now, she's been really quiet. We haven't seen her much. She wasn't even there really promoting her show at all. She wouldn't show her face in her various ads things for As Ever, which I thought was really bizarre because, part of the thing with selling food is that somebody needs to be seen eating the food. And she never seems to be doing that. And so I was speculating maybe a nose job. It doesn't seem like that's the case, but there definitely could have been something else done for sure. And I do think, and I will share that I think that hairstyle did her zero favors at all. I think she looked kind of terrible with it and a bit sickly. And so if there was work done, it was subtle. A lot of Hollywood people do it. Not to knock her. I mean, a lot of people do, but it definitely seems like something maybe has happened, but we'll have to maybe wait longer to see.
Brittany, I'm not a fashion guy, okay? I'm not a fashion guy. I find it hard to judge the clothes, but I know you are. But this is what, according to Taz, posted on the outfit. What the hell is she wearing? She looks like she's been dipped in Vaseline, and the white cape looks bloody awful over the top of a cream suit. All that money, and she still looks a total mess. Absolute fashion disaster. And Lou Bug Windsor did this comparison, Brittany, and simply asked the question, who wore it best? I mean, and even though I'm not a fashion guy, I mean, this was an odd outfit choice.
Mm-hmm. It really was. And if you look at the outfit, to me, it sort of screams, you got sort of the Pope that you can look at. A lot of people mentioned like a ghost or mummy. So it seems like Halloween came early for Meghan Markle, or it could just be like fancy pajamas with like a weird shawl over it. It was a terrible outfit. I think horrifically styled. Because the thing is, usually when it comes to these fashion shows, people are given, let's say, an outfit to wear, or they can choose an outfit to wear among the collection. And if you have the chance or have the opportunity, you can change the outfit up or kind of be creative with the outfit to give you, let's say, a bit more of a shape. But I mean, it looked like literally she was walking out of the hotel in her pajamas and that she stole a sheet from the bed. It was just a terrible look. She does not look good in that type of thing. She needs something that gives her shape, not a sack. I mean, it looks like something you would see at a grandma's, like, if she's celebrating her, let's say, 60th wedding anniversary, that's what a grandma would wear. So, I mean, it was just an awful outfit. She thinks she looks sophisticated. She really doesn't. And I looked at some of the other clothes from the celebrities that were there, and they looked so much better. So you even get the sense, even with her outfit, that the new fashion or the creative director of Balenciaga kind of sort of hated Meghan. And again, she's there for the publicity stunt and nothing else.
The Royal Grift suggests that she was actually purposefully trying to cosplay a former look of Princess Diana, which Meghan Markle says, this is sick. I mean, again, wouldn't be surprised. Meghan's mole, sorry. It wouldn't be surprising, would it, Brittany?
It definitely wouldn't if she's going in that direction. But this is also similar to things Meghan has worn. She just really has no sense of her like body type and actually what works well on her body. Because one of the things is with that outfit, it might have worked better on a woman with, let's say, a bit more curves, but also a taller woman. Because sometimes in fashion, you just need really height to pull things off. And so Meghan dresses like she's a supermodel. And yes, her legs are skinny. And yes, overall, she's quite thin, but she is only 5'6", 5'5". She is not 5'11" like Diana was, or 5'10". And so because of that 5-6 inches makes a huge difference in what you can pull off in fashion, which is part of the reason why models are so tall. And so I think Meghan chooses the wrong thing every time because she has no clue how to dress herself. She thinks she's a supermodel or she wants to emulate Diana. And obviously she's none of those things. And so she doesn't dress for herself. And of course, she lets herself down in that way.
Totally. And what was interesting is Anna Rojas looked quite closely at some of the video of Meghan with the other celebrities there. And she said, and you can sort of see it right here, Brittany, if you look at this closely, Meg ignored and talking to herself. Dame Kristen Scott couldn't stand it. And Meg's jaw began to tense. No celebrity took a picture with Meghan, not even E. Ross. I'm not sure who E. Ross is, Brittany, but clearly another celebrity in attendance. Meg is a social pariah. No matter how much pomp she can afford, she arrived with her pimp and always left alone. And it is interesting, isn't it, just seeing some of that body language going on.
Yes, and the dame there, I forget her name. She actually looks quite great because she has actually this button-down dress on. I saw a quick video of her, and she looked fantastic. So it's like, where was that look for Meghan? But yes, none of the celebrities really associated with her. Who they're talking about actually is Tracy Ellis Ross, who I think was going to be part of Meghan's 40 by 40 plan. So they're somewhat aware of her.
I see.
Yeah. So if you look at the picture of Meghan on the runway, you can see Tracy Ellis Ross. But when it comes to this whole thing, none of them really want to associate with Meghan. Meghan has a wildly toxic brand. She is not popular. And there's just no benefit to them to hang out with her. Because Lauren Sanchez and I think it's Georgina Rodriguez, who's married to the soccer guy. I mean, they were sitting there with, $20 million of diamonds on. And they, as far as we're aware, they didn't go anywhere near Meghan Markle because nobody really cares. And they all know why she's there. She's not really there for a reason because she's a fashion icon or anything like that. She's there for publicity and that's it. And Balenciaga gets a little bit of a bump in the mentions and that's what they wanted and that's what they got.
I mean, there was another take on this, Brittany. And I always like to give both sides of the story. So this was from Nurin Kaur, who has been a long-time Catherine, the Princess of Wales troll and supporter of Meghan Markle, part of the Sussex squad. She wrote, Anna Wintour said Meghan brings modernity to the royal family, and I totally agree. Meghan is not only more relatable, but also her authentic self. I can't help but feel sorry for Kate sometimes. She was young when she married William and never really had any independence or time to be her true self. And then tradition demands her to dress decades older than she is. In this fuddy-duddy fashion, younger generations just switch off. How can they relate? But first, if you're anything like me, you've spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realize you've been neglecting the skin on your neck. But as I've got older, I know that's a massive oversight because the neck is on display all the time, yet lots of folk just treat it as an afterthought in their routine. And I know I'd fallen into that trap. And what's been interesting actually is since starting this campaign with Go Pure, I've spoken to many in our Outspoken audience, many women who tell me that they know the skin on their neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin, and they need specialized care, but they just don't know where to get it from. And so I have to say, that is why Go Pure is the answer. It is an absolutely beautiful product. This is the Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, and it's transforming the lives and necks of women and some men too, all across the globe. So let me tell you about this gorgeous product because I saw a noticeable difference within just weeks. Oh, and by the way, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure if you use the code DAN, that's DAN, at checkout today. So just head to gopure.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. But what's so amazing about Go Pure is that its proprietary firming complex is actually designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple, 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, plus with over 1 million jars sold. I don't think you can say this is a beauty secret anymore, right? Because it's not a secret, if you get what I'm saying. So, tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine shouldn't stop at your jawline. And for that limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopure.com/Dan, use the code DAN, and you are all set. Quick favor too, after you buy, when they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, make sure you tell them it was after watching Outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Oh gosh, so many thoughts there. So number one, Catherine was almost 30 when she married William. She was not, let's say, 21 or something. So Catherine was able to find herself and she knew herself. And so that argument just doesn't hold any weight at all. And I want to point out the authenticity argument for Meghan there. Now, you'll notice if you've watched Meghan for a long time, like I have, and if you've gone through so many Getty images trying to find a picture of Meghan frowning or something, it's very hard to find because Meghan is constantly grinning ear to ear. And yet she goes to this fashion event and it's all like pouty lips and, not smiling. And she's really trying to be like a stoic model or something. She's playing another role there. That's as fake as the rictus grin is. And so she's doing all of that. And you can't help but think she's so incredibly fake because she's trying on another persona in this instance. And Catherine dresses, I think, for every age. Catherine's style is really timeless. And I think because of that, people do gravitate more towards Catherine than they do towards Meghan because Meghan's look, I can't think of any young woman who wants to look like a 60-year-old grandmother. So I don't think any of them are clamoring to buy Meghan Markle's pajama look there, but maybe in some crazy world that's true. But I don't think Meghan is modern in a lot of ways. I don't think she's particularly authentic, and Catherine is.
Brittany, what do you think of the fact that Meghan brought the whole old team together back to Paris? It's like a return of her old gay crew. Meghan's mole wrote, "Did you catch who was blow-drying Meghan Markle's hair? Ben Skirvin. All the men from her past are part of her future except Prince Harry." And Daniel's there too. Brittany, Daniel. Lovely Daniel.
Oh gosh. I saw Meghan's look and Daniel is like, touting it as a great success on Instagram. I was like, dude, she looks terrible. It looks like she hardly has any makeup on. Her wedding makeup is as awful as this makeup is. And she again, in my opinion, looked more sickly than she did fashionable or stylish. And so I think it's just an example, though, of how for Meghan Markle, being an influencer, a shallow vein and vapid influencer, that doesn't blanket all influencers. I don't think all of them are like that, but a lot of them are. And that has always been Meghan's level. She way overshot herself by becoming a royal because she doesn't have the depth to be it. And I think this just proves again that Meghan just doesn't really have anything else to offer but some like an okay look on a red carpet, sitting down, watching a fashion show, getting her hair done, and showing up and being seen. That is Meghan. Beyond that, there's just not that much there that we've seen so far. And she keeps trying to be a producer and maybe a writer and all these sorts of things. And she's none of those things. She should just embrace being an influencer and just be done with it because that's always been who she is. And she should just embrace it rather than trying to fight against it.
I would love to know about the conversation she had with another friend of hers, though, Brittany, the photographer Mishan Harriman, because remember, this is what he said after the Balenciaga scandal.
So I've had a lot of messages saying you need to see what's going on with Balenciaga. I have, and as a photographer that's worked with many brands in the fashion industry, I'm utterly horrified. And I'm angry. I know how many steps you go through as a photographer to get the client to approve images. I know how many adult eyes have to look at images for them to be printed, especially for a retail campaign where you're selling the product online. This gift shop shoot by Balenciaga is abhorrent. And those babies, those children who were not protected, I don't know where the parents were, but I do know that those children were not protected. So you could sell your products. The fashion industry needs to do something about this.
I mean, Brittany, he could not be any more categorical. That's one of her best friends in fashion.
Mm-hmm. It is. And let's see what happens in a couple of years or even a couple of days. He may drop her, but he may just go along with it because, again, these are all fair weather friend people. They claim to be friends, but they're really not. It was like Meghan's interaction with the fashion director or the creative director, and they kept saying, oh, they're such good friends. It's like, no, they're not. They barely know each other. And the thing is about Masson, about Daniel, about this creative director, all these people are paid by Meghan Markle for a job. So yeah, they're going to say whatever she wants or they're going to go along with whatever she wants because she's paying them. They're not her real friends. She's people who she's paying to do a job. And yes, they have a nice rapport, but that's about it. And so I can see Masson. He might have said that a couple of years ago, but will he care now? Probably not. He just won't care. And he'll be like, oh, they've changed hands or whatever. Even though I'm sure a lot of people who had their hands on that campaign are probably still part of Balenciaga. I'm sure at the same time, he's like, well, there's a new direction here. So I can just ignore this previous scandal because, my friend's there. And that's going to be it.
Brittany, I guess the only relief for Meghan Markle with these Balenciaga headlines was that the fact this massive faux pas in terms of her latest as ever campaign was overshadowed. She didn't even know how to use a jar lifter. Like she's got the apparatus upside down. Brittany, I mean, look, we know she doesn't jar these damn products herself anyway, but it's like, could as ever be any more embarrassing at this point?
I mean, it's so bad. And the other thing here is like just beyond the ridiculousness and not actually knowing how to use it is that she's standing over a stove making probably actual jam. She's not using her own products. She should be in that ad using her own products rather than creating something she uses at home. Because what you notice if you've actually watched some of Meghan Markle's videos where she's using her spread is that you can't actually see the label. You can't see which label she's actually using. This woman is selling products she doesn't actually use and doesn't care to use in her own kitchen. And I think as a consumer, that is a massive, massive turnoff because if she was proud of these products, if she cared about this brand, just like making sure she had the Canon lifting implement right side up, she makes sure she had it that way. But she didn't because she doesn't really care because she doesn't do any of this stuff. This is all just something Netflix helped her concoct so she could have some sort of show, but her heart is not in it. She does not care about this brand. She doesn't care about like being in the kitchen like she claims. She doesn't seem to be much of a chef. And so this brand is just so limping along this far that it's just going to crash and burn at some point, or she's just going to get bored after it stops selling and she's just going to move on because, again, this is not her thing.
Brittany, at the same time as all of this, Prince Harry comes out with his own ludicrous claim, his own leak to his favourites at the Daily Telegraph about this stalker that he claims came within feet of him on his UK visit. Now, I will take you through the story, Brittany, but just before I do, we just have to be honest about what this is about. This is all about Prince Harry's Team Sussex, trying to paint the picture that he is at desperate threat and that the security decision made by the UK government, by the way, stood up by the court, is still not correct. And this is another reason why people like me said, Charles should not be meeting with Harry because he's not going to stop this type of rubbish. He got his meeting with Charles. Now he's coming out with this type of rubbish. Now, the irony is it looks like this so-called stalker, Brittany, is actually, and I'm going to be careful about this, but I believe we know who this person is, this woman is, and she's a member of the Sussex squad who's traveled around the world with Prince Harry, and they are mischaracterizing the threat from this woman. But this is how the Daily Telegraph swallowed the propaganda. I mean, the whole article made me sick, but I'll just read a little bit of it to you, Brittany. They write, a known stalker came within feet of the Duke of Sussex on 2 separate occasions during his recent visit to the UK, the Telegraph can reveal. The woman, who may be suffering from mental health issues, well, just like Prince Harry himself, for example, entered a secure zone at a central London hotel at which the Duke was attending the Well Child Awards. 2 days later, she was spotted within a stone's throw of the Duke at the Centre for Blast Injury Studies. A member of the Duke's private staff recognised the woman and body blocked her to ensure that she could not get any closer, despite not knowing if she was carrying a weapon. There was no police presence at the event. The woman is on a list of fixated individuals drawn up by a private intelligence company for the Duke's personal protection. She has a history of following the Duke and Duchess of Sussex all over the world and was seen during the couple's visit to Nigeria last year. Scotland Yard declined to comment on the 2 incidents, stating that it did not discuss security arrangements. The incidents are likely to be used by the Duke as proof of the risk he faced and which is faced by those around him as he continues to pursue the right to a full risk assessment of his security arrangements despite losing a legal challenge against the government. A friend said the Duke felt enormous guilt that his high profile put others around him at risk, citing it as one of the reasons why his visits to the UK are so infrequent. It should not be left to 2 office staff to act as extra eyes and ears or provide a physical barrier. That should not happen. It is only going to take one motivated lone individual for this to go south very quickly. And of course, Brittany, that is the case with every high-profile individual, right? We've just seen what happened with Charlie Kirk in the United States. No one is denying that there are genuine security threats, especially, by the way, for those of us on the right at the moment. But the big difference here, Brittany, is that they're trying to paint a picture of a fan, like someone who is fans travel all around the world. They follow Taylor Swift all around the world, for example. They go to every concert. Same through history. New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys, whoever it is. Now, okay, this woman is probably crazy and mentally ill to be a fan of Prince Harry traveling around the world, But I think it's the wrong example, and it shows actually how desperate he is. It also shows that the security issue is just never going to go away.
It isn't. He's going to constantly try to fight against this because he truly believes he's probably the most important person in the UK. And it's ridiculous because when I read this story, it's like I was expecting to hear, let's say, a real risk or something. And I'm reading this going, she just sounds like a fan who's hanging around with him and trying to see him. And so it's like, okay, that's the best that they have. Now, obviously, there could be more behind the scenes, but if that's the risk assessment Harry is using to demand security, I would say anybody in the UK, if you have a stalker, and this could be a famous individual all the way over even into private, non-famous individuals, people who just happen to have a kind of terrifying ex-partner or something. All of them should get met protection too if this is the standard that we're using. Being famous, being a public figure at any stretch, and I've seen a little bit of it myself. There are people who are just unhinged, who are just going to be a little bit crazy about things. And that's just the reality of being a public figure. If Harry can't handle that, then again, lead a private life, go live on a ranch in Montana. Nobody will bother you that way.
Very good point, Brittany. Thank you so much. And of course, if you do want full access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show here on Outspoken, twice the length of what you've just watched, then sign up to my Substack right now. www.outspoken.live is the address. Let me repeat it, www.outspoken.live. Paid monthly or annual members get first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show every single weekday. You can watch it live, you can watch it on demand, whatever you prefer, but what I promise you is no advertising in the after show whatsoever on Substack. It's a very important platform for me, free speech focused, save me from big tech cancellation and lawfare in the future. www.outspoken.live. Come and join the Outspoken community on Substack. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.